there is a fifth dimension, beyond that which is known to man. It is a dimension as vast as space and as timeless as infinity. It is the middle ground between light and shadow, between science and superstition, and it lies between the pit of man's fears and the summit of his knowledge. This is the dimension of imagination. It is an area which we call the Twilight Zone.
Love y'all, boys. Love you. Love you. I'll go to war with every single one of you, every game, all right? Love you, 1-7. Here we go! 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3! Win!
Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south. I'll be spreading out, call it word of mouth, can't put me down, I'll be getting loud. You can have me douse, not what I'm about, have your fucking cloud. It be raining now, I keep making sound, go another round, bitch I'm legend bound, can't stop me now. You don't wanna fuck with me, a slow burn like a disease. Just tell me that I can and show you things that you couldn't believe. Just tell me that I can. 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 It's showtime.
Welcome to Friday Night Lights. I'm your host, Tommy, to the highest degree, to the TOP, from the 313. And normally by my side is my main man, my Toucan Sam, the one they call the Apex Man, Mr. Mikey. But Mr. Mikey is still at work, and I'm also on here earlier than usual. So I told you guys that till November 21st, I am back at my old gig bouncing at the bar on Friday nights at 10:30. So we have to stop the podcast at 10. So I decided to start the podcast earlier until further notice. So Friday Night Lights will start at 8 o'clock, moving from now until November 21st. And then we'll be back at 9 and then doing our normal, 2-hour podcast. So Mikey, however, tonight has texted me that he may not be able to make it at all. So that's unfortunate. No Mikey tonight, so you just got to deal with this ugly mug. But that's all right. Y'all love me, right? Y'all showing me some love. Let me put on some background music. Y'all know how I like the background music, so it's not so much dead air throughout my headphones. So what is up, Bills Mafia? How y'all feeling today? Let's get to some of your guys' comments. Scott Blakely in the building. What up, Scott? I'm ready to so get the train moving. Says you're live in 10 minutes, and I was, man. See, I threw a little curveball at you guys tonight, going live at 8 o'clock. Oops, my clock. Stop. What up, Ohio against the world? How you doing, brother? What up, boys? Another Monday night game. Yeah, man. And then we got the bye week. Yep. Scott says, awesome. I like it early. This OG can't stay up late. I hear you, brother. So, yeah, it'll be 8 to 10 all the way up till November 21st. And then we'll be back at 9 o'clock. Roy, what up, man? Mikey must be surfing. I know, right? Living that California life, man. No, he's working. So he hit me up. He had I don't know, a conference to go to or something. Who knows? He probably just... You don't want to deal with my shit. He doesn't want to deal with your shit. No, I'm just joking. It's probably more about me, right? It's like, fucking guy, Tommy. I got to deal with this bullshit about the receiver room. Fucking tired of him and his damn receivers. Oh, my God. Hey, I appreciate you, man. I love y'all, too, man. Love y'all, too. What's going on, Dangerous? Tommy, man. So, yeah, guys, look, man. I got a quick question. We'll start off like this. Do the Buffalo Bills have a killer instinct? I got to thinking about that this week. I got to be honest with you guys. I don't think they do. Man. I think they respect their opponents way too much. And I just feel like they just go in the game and obviously they want to win. But I feel like they don't have that killer instinct anymore, right? Like, I felt like when we were first on the come up in 2019, right? We didn't win the division yet, but we were starting to get there, right? Like, things were starting to trend up, but people still hated, right? And all the outside, all the other fan bases, all the national sports media, all the Bills are they won't get back to the playoffs again. That was a luck. And then 2020 happened, where we went 13-3. We won the division, and then we heard the noise again. And I felt like, the team was still like having something to prove. They still had that like killer instinct, wanting to prove people, the doubters, wrong, going into the next season, right? But I don't know if it's just because we're in the East, and we're it's a kind of a thing where we just kind of win the East so easily. We've won 5 straight years. And I don't know, man. I just feel like we go in these games just like, hey, man, let's just play football, get out of here with a win. And I don't like that. Like, I really don't. Like, we should go into every game wanting to prove a point. Like, we are the baddest fucking team in football. You know what I mean? And I don't get that. I really don't. Like, and there's courses, there's parts during the game, I guess, where we get a little hyped up and you see that juice, but I haven't really honestly seen it much this year. We're just kind of going through the motions. So tell me what you guys feel. Very curious what Bills Mafia feels. So Dangerous saying no, right? And that's, I'm going with no too. Roy, receivers, or is he tired of you praising Singletary? It's funny, Roy. That's I don't do it a lot. I do it more on post podium just to kind of mess around with the guys over there, dudes over there. But I still think he got way too much heat for what he provided here while he was on the team. So, but yeah, it's funny. Oh my God. Hold on real quick, guys. I don't know why that cut off. Oh, I see why. Okay. All right. My bad, guys. All right. Dangerous. They don't kick them when they're down. Yeah, they don't. Like, I don't even know. Listen, I just think they go into games just showing way too much respect for their opponent. They really do. Like, they don't go into the game with this mentality of like, we're the better team, we're gonna fucking wipe you out. You know what I mean? Like, they don't have that. I just don't see that. And it's not cockiness, guys, by the way. Like, I'm not asking them to be cocky, but like, where's the swag at? Where's the, hey man, like, we know who the fuck we are, right? Like, I don't get that. And maybe I'm reaching here, but I just haven't seen that in a little while from this team, where it's just like, we're going into games just like, man, we're going to fuck this team up. And I don't know, man. I just feel like this is way too much respect for the opponents. And I don't know. I personally don't like it. Does Brady have the killer instinct? See, I don't think so. And I don't think McDermott has it either, bro. I really don't. I think that's one of McDermott's flaws as a head coach. He doesn't have that. He doesn't have that go for your throat mentality, right? Especially when he's up in a game. Just doesn't have it. He's like, I don't know, man. It's so odd because he gets fired up at times. You would think this former wrestler, right? He's a little hot-headed at times on the sideline. You would think he would have that, but I don't think so. There's nothing that proves to me that he does. Scott, play has been so methodical, but I wonder if that's going to ramp up close to the playoffs. See, we keep hoping that, Scott, and I get it. Like, I understand that thought process of like, hey, maybe we're just saving it. This isn't preseason, right? Like, this is the playbook now, right? These are, we're not a week away from the playoffs where we're in a bullshit game and we're asking this team to throw out the, the good playbook, right? Like, we're in week 6, right? What you see is kind of what you get at this point. I don't know if they're hiding things or All right, guys, now it's time to ramp it. Let's go ahead and get things going now. Like, I don't think so. I think what you're seeing on the field is what you're going to get throughout the remainder of the season and into the playoffs, unless they make some moves. Give me 1 minute, guys. But yeah, unless they make some moves, man, I don't know. I don't know how far this team can go. I know this is a playoff team. This is a team that still can win the division, of course. But once again, it's not about what we know we can do. It's about what can they, what we know they can't do, which is win an AFC championship game, which is go to the Super Bowl, right? So we already know this part, right? We know we're a good regular season team. We know we can win the division. We've won it 5 straight seasons. We know this. What we don't know is how this team will respond in an AFC championship game again, right? Because what we do know, as far as that goes, is we haven't gotten past the Chiefs. We haven't gotten past the Bengals when we had an opportunity there, right, against the Bengals. We've flopped heavily in the playoffs and the key games, key moments. And I don't know if that's something that has to do with the whole killer instinct thing. I just don't know. Or maybe it's just we just got too many flaws on this team to overcome a better team like the Chiefs, right? I mean, these could be facts as well, right? That we kind of ignore, that we kind of just go, well, we got Josh Allen. We won 13 games this year. We're a good team, right? The record shows that. But are we? Like, do we have a well-rounded team? Listen, I'm a Detroit Tigers fan. Detroit Tigers are playing actually right now, Game 5. And if they win tonight, they go into the American League championship game, right? The ALCS. Let me tell you something. I love my Tigers, but that team is not a good team. I have no idea how they got there, to be honest with you guys. Right? Their record does not show what their really team is about. Like they have really bad hitting. They have one great pitcher and a bunch of mediocre guys. But even if they win tonight, the chances of them going to the World Series is slim to none. They just don't have a well-rounded team to go 7 games against the Toronto Blue Jays. They don't. And those are facts, right? And this Buffalo Bills team maybe is the same. We just don't have enough talent. So when we finally get to a game, right, like the AFC Championship, where we can afford to make some mistakes on offense, right, especially on offense, and the defense makes up for it. We just don't have that. And that may be the problem. And that may be the problem all along. I don't know. But I could tell you that if you look across the board on our team right now, we only got really 2 star players, right? And that's Josh Allen, that's James Cook. And if you shut James Cook down, if a defense comes into the game like the New England Patriots, who are good at run defense and can, contain James Cook, slow the running game down, that's where you saw last week where we struggled. That's where you start seeing the problems occur. We haven't had that problem yet leading up to week 5 when we played the Patriots. And the Patriots exposed the Buffalo Bills' flaws. Now, we made some mistakes. Of course, we shot ourselves in the foot. We don't normally do turnovers, right? That's not what we do. We're pretty good with the ball. But we did, right? It was one of those games where we happened to turn the ball over. But guess what? When you do that and you don't have a well-rounded team that can make up for those mistakes, that's it. That's a ball game. And that's exactly what happened against New England. Embarrassing loss. Are we a better team? Yes. I'm not being cocky to Patriots fans out there. I've been saying this for the last 2 seasons. that the Patriots are starting to trend up. They're doing it the right way. However, the Bills right now are still the better team. They still have the better quarterback. They still have players that have been on this team a while. New England's still trying to get everything together. They're still building. They're in the process of still building a team over there. There was no reason why we should have lost that game at home. Other than that, our flaws got exposed. And we have to fix that. Let's get to some of your comments real quick. Roy, 6 straight isn't guaranteed. No, listen, nothing's guaranteed, Roy. So I'm not saying it's a lock. However, this Bills team should win a 6th division again. They should win the East again. We still are the better team. We still have the better quarterback at this moment. Okay. But yeah, anything can happen. I mean, the Bills could literally lose Monday and the Patriots can go on a major winning streak. And then the Bills can find themselves behind. Absolutely. Right. And playing catch up. Of course, but I don't see that happening. But once again, if we play like we played on Sunday and we don't fix the problems, yeah, it's possible. It's very possible. But, Roy, I will say this. We've been down this road before. Plenty of times. Y'all remember the year that we were trailing Miami for most of the season. Most of the second half of the season. And we wound up winning the division, right? At the very end. We've also had losing streaks, right? Remember last year we had a 2-game losing streak. So, and then the sky was falling, right? Everything was, done, right? I was pissed. But we corrected our mistakes. We wound up making a trade. We got Cooper, and we wound up going on a nice winning streak. So we'll see what happens. But if history repeats itself, we'll be okay. That's really not the problem here. The problem is the playoffs, right? Is this team built to get to a Super Bowl? I'm going to tell you right now, it's not. The only way we get to a Super Bowl with this current team, if they continue to play like this, and especially that receiver room, is just going to be they're going to have to get so hot in the playoffs that we just literally outscore everybody. And then I'm talking about in the 40s because I don't trust our defense. But yet, I don't see that happening. I really don't, guys. I think we are a, 27-point game, points per game, maybe, close to 30, which is fine. But in the playoffs, it may not be fine. You understand where I'm going with that? Jimmy Key, how you doing, brother? Shout out to you, brother. Tigers like the Bills, great quarterback and room for. Yeah, see, Roy, you see where I was going with that? Got Tarek Skubal, great pitcher. Josh Allen, great quarterback, right? Problem is with the Tigers, they don't have a second great player. Like we have James Cook, right? Well, you know what? I'll take that back. They got a really great manager. Their manager's really good. Won a World Series, right? So they got 2 really good key things going on in Detroit. I can't say that for Sean McDermott. Sean McDermott's a good coach, but he has a lot of flaws. So yeah, man, I'm that's kind of where I was going with the Tigers and the Bills. Now, yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know. The W. I'm just caught up, guys. It's craziness. Brandon Beane is a stubborn GM. DK Metcalf and Debo were available, and they went with Josh Palmer and Elijah Moore. What a joke. Yeah, look, man, I don't get the whole, here's my problem. Here's my problem with the offseason. I like Brandon Beane, and he's stubborn as all hell. And I'm with you there. Like, I totally agree with that. I feel like he sits on his hands too much when he should be making deals when they're available. I feel like he has this outlook on what he wants this team to be in the future, right? Like years ahead. And it's like, bro, we're in the now, right? Like stop this whole, I got to look ahead. We got to remain this on track. Everything has to be, we need to be this winning team into the 2030 season, right? Like, it's like, when will you understand, bro? This window's open still, but eventually it's going to start closing, right? It's just the reality of it. Teams like the Patriots will get better, right? And who knows about the Jets? Who knows what the Dolphins will do in the future? But it doesn't matter. Teams will get better around us, right? Can't keep fucking around. Like, there's a time you have to go, you know what? I'm going to do something that I'm not comfortable with, but I think now's the time, right? Now's the time to kind of do this all-in approach where, I trade for this player even though I probably shouldn't because I have to move some contracts around, whatever, or I got to lose some draft picks. So be it. What has your draft picks done for you anyways? You're hoarding draft picks that aren't making an impact anyways. So what are we talking about here? Right? Most of our draft picks, if we're going to be real and honest here, the ones that have worked out have been project players, which is fine. And I'm happy about that. I'm happy that a lot of guys worked out. But it takes time, right, for these guys to start finding their own, right? To begin, like the Spencer Browns of the world, right? It took him by what, year three to finally get going, right? After his dealing with his back stuff and getting with Cromer and all that. But do we have time to wait around for project players? I mean, sure, if you want to draft them late, okay, round 4 through 7, I'm with that. But rounds 1 through 3, we need to see more production. We need to see something better. And if you're not getting that, then who cares? Trade your picks away. Get an impactful player that can move the needle. Stop with this whole, drafting project players in the first 3 rounds. Guys that you think can play at a different position even, which I can't stand. So that's where I'm going with that. But yeah, I like Brandon Beane. I think he's done some good here. Obviously, like, I still back him. But man, yeah, he's stubborn. Very stubborn, especially when it comes to trades. And I don't know why he doesn't see that there's problems that we all can see, that we all are talking about. It's right there. It's right in front of you. You need to make some moves here. Metcalf isn't worth the contract. Listen, not even about. I'm not even talking about just specifically Metcalf or anything. But there's players that he could have signed instead of signing a bunch of 1 to 2 year deals on players that aren't going to do anything for you. Right? Out of the 8 signings that 9, whatever he did, why not sign 2 really impactful players when you combine all that money you just blew on, guys that aren't going to do anything for the team? Why not go at least get an impactful player or 2 and then draft the rest? I don't get it. We do it every season. And then we got 2 guys that we signed, Hoyt and Omajobi, who they can't even play till week 8. They're suspended. Right? The Hoyt, fine. The Hoyt signing, okay, I get it. 3 years, really 2.5 because he's suspended for half of it. But the Omajobi one, what? Why? You knew he was going to be suspended. He's not that great of a player where you're like, well, you know what? We got such a great deal on him for 1 year, and he's such an impactful player. You know what? Fine. We'll wait till week 8 when he returns. It's not that. No, he's not that impactful. I'm sorry. That's a bad signing. Roy predicted the Bills to lose. Yeah, Roy does that, but I know Roy's thinking. There's no way the Bills win 5 in a row to win the division. Yeah, exactly. So, man, I think Olave is the only receiver Bills could trade for. He's on his rookie deal, and next year will be his 5th year option. It's possible, and that's something that the Bills can definitely look into. Look, at this point, we don't know who we don't know who's available, right? So we're speculating that he could be available, but we'll know more in the next couple weeks, right? Who's really selling. And then we'll be able to decide, okay, is it possible to get this guy, fit him into the salary cap, all that stuff. And don't get too caught up with the cap. There's always room around it. There's always ways to make it work. Good GMs do it all the time. I've seen Brandon Beane do it all before. So don't get caught up in, oh, we can't afford that guy. Like, if he wants him, he can make it work. Believe me, okay? And I could care less about the fucking cap if this guy's going to come in here and help this team potentially get to a Super Bowl. Who gives a shit, right? We'll worry about that shit down the road. Like I keep saying, I don't give a flying fuck about the cap if we win a Super Bowl, right? Honestly, and you all should feel the same. I could care less. Like if we won a Super Bowl and let's say we, have issues for the next 2 seasons and we're cutting players, whatever, to kind of get back on track and we have a mediocre season, who cares? Like, we really care? I don't give a shit. I don't give 2 shits. If we won a Super Bowl, look at that. Look at the Rams. They did the same thing. And they're right back to being a good football team. So, yeah, like, guys, eventually Beane's going to have to do something that he's not comfortable with if he feels this team is a Super Bowl caliber team with these additions. And I'll say this again, if Beane sits on his hands during the deadline, all that tells me is he doesn't believe this team is a Super Bowl caliber team with those additions. Meaning, even if he made a trade or 2, he's not comfortable enough going, man, you know what? These guys, if I did bring these guys in, we might get to a Super Bowl, right? If he doesn't make a move, that tells me everything I need to know. That he's not confident in this team going to Super Bowl, even with those additions, right? So that's how I see it. Y'all can see it different, but that's how I see it. Let's get to some of your comments, man. Hello, Tommy. Look who it is. The most interesting man in the chat, Mr. Fulton. Hello, Tommy. I have big news today. I made it to the next round of American Idol. Oh, my God. Look at you, Mr. Fulton. The most interesting man in the chat. On to the next round of American Idol. Oh, my gosh. Good for you, brother. I wish you the best. Scott Blakely used to use that line last year. Well, listen, Scott, you can re-enter. He can go back anytime, right? So he's just having a problem at some point on the show where he's not getting to the finale. So let's all root for Mr. Fulton, the most interesting man in the chat. He always got stuff going on. KC won the Super Bowl in 22 and 23 with just solid offensive pieces. Yeah, I mean, look, KC, I'll say this real quick about KC, though. See, KC, when I was talking about this Buffalo Bills team where they can have, not the greatest receiving room, but they have other pieces around on the team that can make up for that, right? That can make up for the flaws on the team. They have a great coach. They have a great defensive coordinator. They got a great defensive line in Chris Jones, right? And obviously they got Patrick Mahomes. So they have little pieces that can make up and correct the flaws, right? That can those flaws don't make it a big deal, right, to the team's success. With us, with the Buffalo Bills, our flaws, we got just too many right now. And we don't have enough talent to make up for the flaws. We just don't. So really, it all goes back to Josh Allen, right? What can Josh Allen do? And I think that's why a lot of you guys get upset sometimes when Josh Allen doesn't have a great game or misses a receiver or makes a mistake, whatever. Because you know that he's our only hope, right? You know this. Deep down inside, you guys know if Josh Allen doesn't play perfect MVP football pretty much every Sunday, the chances of the Bills winning are slim, right? Let's be real, right? Tell me a game where Josh Allen just had a bad game and the Bills wound up winning because of other pieces around. I'm sure there is, but there's not a lot. There might be one or two throughout the time he's been here, but not a lot. I promise you. Not a lot. We just don't have it. We don't have the talent to make up for it. It's sad. I wish that was not the case. Yeah, I don't know, man. Mr. Fulton, like I said, dude, this dude is that's why we call him the most interesting man in the chat, Scott. So, you know. He actually sang on here like, I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago. I forget what show. Might have been Friday Night Lights, or it might have been, I don't know what show it was, but he actually came on and sang a song real quick. I was like, okay, all right, Mr. Fulton. Roy, I'm sure Bean can get Andre Holmes. Yeah, you remember? Yeah, Andre Holmes. Let's bring him back. Let's see here, Mr. Fulton. I go through the next round. Okay, all right, for the judges. All right, Kyle. I want to care. At least other fan bases can't say we never won. Yeah, look. Here's the deal. We haven't. We haven't won shit here. We haven't done anything. If we're gonna keep things real, right? Keep things a buck. The Buffalo Bills haven't accomplished anything. Okay. I love this team, right? I've been watching this football team since 1989, right? I won a Super Bowl, right? We all should want a Super Bowl. But the reality is we haven't won anything, right? We have an AFL championship. We have 2 of them, I believe, right? Back to back, I believe we won. But who gives a shit about that? I wasn't watching football in 1962. Could care less. Matter of fact, I'm going to say this too. When other fan bases like to bring up their past and what they have accomplished, if you are not from that era, you cannot bring up your team's Super Bowl. I'm sorry. That is a weak ass argument. You could debate me on that all you want. But, when a Dolphin fan says we won in 1972, dude, you weren't even around then. Like, you're not even close to being around when that happened. Like, I know your age. Now, if you were in that, listen, if you're from that era, you watched 1972 Miami Dolphins football. Okay, fine. Then I'll say okay. Yes, you lived through a Super Bowl, but the majority of fans, at least like certain fans, they have not lived through their Super Bowls, their team's history. So for me, it doesn't mean anything. So like, if the Buffalo Bills won in 1984 a Super Bowl, I could not win an argument, or I would not feel happy about going, well, my team got a Super Bowl in 1984. Like, yeah, so what? Like, I didn't live through that. Give a 2 shits about that. I'm living in the now, right? And a lot of Bills Mafia, at least that I come across. Now, there is some old heads in here that have been watching since the 70s, 80s. But the majority of them are a lot of them drought years. Start watching the drought years. So they haven't witnessed anything. They've gone through like pain and misery. And now they're going through a roller coaster of emotions, because we're a good team, but we're not a great team. We're a good team constantly every year, but we're not a great team. You understand? There's a difference. It's a big difference. And I don't want to be that fan years from now saying, well, I got to live through the Josh Allen era. At least my quarterback's a Hall of Famer, and that's all I could say. Who cares? Like, who cares? Get what I'm saying, guys? Like, I lived through the Buffalo Bills Super Bowl losses. But at the end of the day, I can't even say damn, I got to experience the 1990 Super Bowl win against the Giants. Like, I watched that game. You know what I mean? Like, I was a fan at the time. Like, no, all we got is a bunch of Hall of Famers that we can say, Marv Levy, you know, Bruce Smith, all-time sack record. Like, we don't have anything else to show for it. Nothing as fans. Nothing. We're not going to have a parade for Josh Allen's MVP award. It's just not going to happen. Because that's not really what it's all about. You know, I want you guys to understand that. That's at least where I'm coming from. Y'all could fan how you want to fan. And I'm not calling you guys, you know, idiots or anything like that if you feel differently. But that's how I feel. How you doing? Hey, it's my man Keys, 40 Keys. My parents got a baby boy in 1984. And I get extremely frustrated with McDermott, but if anyone is being real 100%, he's never had the horses to win a championship. It's been more being than McDermott. Well, here we go. So I'm gonna stop you right there. You know, and of course you can agree or disagree with what I'm going to say. So if you go on how this all happened, Sean McDermott was here Sean McDermott was hired before Brandon Beane. Okay. Then they fired Doug Whaley after the draft, after the 2017 draft. They hired Brandon Beane. So basically, Sean McDermott hired Brandon Beane. If we're going to be real here, okay, let's talk real. And this is Sean McDermott's team. For as much as, you know, it's crazy to say, normally a GM runs things, right? Now, I will say this, though. A GM does work with his coach, meaning, you know, whatever coach philosophy or scheme or the kind of pieces he wants for his offense and defense, the GM's responsible to go get those pieces. It's like a chef, right? So you have a restaurant, you have the best chef, or you hired you're thinking you hired the best chef, and he goes out to the restaurant manager and he says, hey, you know, I need this, and this, and this, and this ingredients to make this course work, right? And that's the general manager's job to go out and get it, right? If the general manager goes out and gets the same ingredients, but it's different, right? Maybe a little bit more spicier. Well, that doesn't go with what the cook wanted. The cook wanted this type of sauce, right? He didn't want a sweet sauce. He wanted a little tangy sauce. So Brandon Beane has to kind of go with what Sean McDermott's scheme is, and the type of players he wants. With that being said, though, Brandon Beane still is at fault here as well. He sits in his comfort zone way too much, right? He doesn't pull the trigger as much as he should on trades that are available. He signs poor free agents, right? He does a lot of one-year deals that doesn't make sense, right? Or a one-year $12 million deal for Joey Bosa, who's playing okay. He's playing good, but not great, right? He does a lot of those signings that just kind of doesn't make sense. You know, some of the draft picks have been questionable early on in the first 3 rounds. Now, he hit on James Cook. You guys can't say he didn't. He hit, obviously, on Josh Allen, right? There's some other players that he hit on that's not here, right? Teller, Edmonds. Say what you want about Edmonds, but he's a good player. That was a hit. He was right about him as a first-round player. Ed Oliver's still up in the air, but we do see when Ed Oliver's not in the game how this defense is, this defensive line. So I would say Ed Oliver right now is a questionable hit, right? We're still on the fence with him, but I think he's borderline. That's a hit. You know, Trey White wasn't his draft pick, but that was a hit early on. And then there's been hits in later rounds, right, that we could talk about. But not a lot lately in the first 3, right? And that's where it is on Beane's responsibility and the scout's responsibility. But once again, this goes back to what Sean McDermott wants, what fits his scheme. right? So, yeah, Brandon Beane's not innocent in all this, and some of the players he brought in here, some of the free agent signings. But don't get it twisted. This is McDermott's show. This is McDermott's house. This is McDermott's voice. He runs things here. He's not going anywhere. The Bagulas hired him, and he hired Brandon Beane. That's the way it works. So that is the pecking order. And that's how I see it. Now, y'all can see it differently, and I get that. Me and Keys, by the way, we debate this all the time. All the time. Keys is not a Beane fan, even though I have photos of him and Brandon Beane out to dinner and at sports bars together, having wings together. But he swears he's not a Brandon Beane fan. But I have photos that say otherwise. He swears that he doesn't like Motor Singletary, but yet he has a T-shirt, Motor Singletary on the front. Once again, that's another story to be told later. I'm with you, Tommy. McD is soft. Yeah, and look, man, I'm not going to get on the McDermott thing because I've done too many videos, spent too much time on Sean McDermott. My feelings about Sean McDermott as head coach of the Buffalo Bills. I think his time has passed him, like here, a few seasons back, right? And I would love a new voice in the room, a new scheme on defense and offense, just a new philosophy on everything, a new voice, right? Is he still telling campfire stories to the players? Because that shit ain't going over well. I promise you. Nobody gives a shit about that. I feel like his voice is gone stale, and I think the players respect him, no doubt about it. He's been the head coach 9 seasons. Of course, you're going to respect a guy like that. He's been there a long time. But like I promise you, the guys that aren't here long term, only a year or two and leave, promise you, some of them don't really have good things to say about him. We know this because players have, there's been sources, right? And we know this too because we've seen players here frustrated and they're no longer here. We've seen coaches exit from the Buffalo Bills coaching staff because they weren't happy, right? Just saying. So there's a lot, when it comes to McDermott that I don't like, but it doesn't matter, folks. He's our head coach. He's going to be our head coach for a little while more. I just don't see that changing. I don't. So it's me wasting my time and effort making videos on why I believe he shouldn't be our head coach, blah, 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 blah. And you guys also get tired of me talking about it. I'm not going to lie. Like, I get it. So at this point, I'm in the now. The now is he's our head coach. And we got to correct shit, and we got to fix shit, and we got to hope that we can go on a run. That's really, as Bills fans right now, is all we can hope for, right? Because we're just not, right now, we're just not built for as a Super Bowl team. It's just the facts. I want to say this, though. Around the league, there's a lot of teams that are not playing good football either. It's not just the Buffalo Bills. So for as much as we're frustrated at times with our Buffalo Bills, there's other fan bases out there that are just as frustrated with their team, right? There's no team right now that's undefeated. Philadelphia, matter of fact, got their ass handed to them last night against the Giants, right? I mean, they got whooped up against the Giants. It's embarrassing. That's a Super Bowl winning Philadelphia Eagles team. And they got problems over there, right? A.J. Brown not happy. The other receiver is kind of bitching on the sideline too, right? They're getting smoked by the Giants. They've been in some close games this year as well that they got out of there with the dub. But they're not playing great football. The Kansas City Chiefs lost to the Jaguars. They're not playing great football. Obviously, you see what's going on in Baltimore, right? And then there's other teams that are surprisingly good, like the Colts. They're playing really good football, sound football. Like the Colts right now, to me, are like what the Buffalo Bills were doing in 2020 when, people, didn't think we had a good team and didn't believe in us. And like, they have a mission. Like, it seems like to me, like the Colts are trying to prove a point that they're a damn good football team. And they're going to kick your fucking ass. They're going to kick your teeth down your throats. That's how they're playing right now. Maybe that'll change down the road. Maybe they're not as good as their record shows, but I see them competitive every week, and I see them kicking ass every week too. They got one loss, and that was a close game. So that's a team to be looking out for. It makes me see here. Makes me feel upset thinking we won't have a championship in this Allen era. That's why my name is Marino's Legacy, because as a Bills fan, I see history repeating itself with Allen. Great all-time quarterback. Yeah, and listen, it could come down to that. When we look back at this Allen era years from now, if we don't win a Super Bowl in the Allen era, we're going to have a lot of questions on why, right? And it's just not going to be us. It's going to be many people, right, in the sports world that's going to go, wow, you had this talent. You had this great quarterback, and yet you didn't win a Super Bowl with him, right? Because we could talk about Jim Kelly all we want. And he had plenty of opportunities. He had 4. But Jim Kelly is not Josh Allen, folks. And I'm not shitting on Jim Kelly. Jim Kelly was a really good quarterback. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback. But he's not Josh Allen. He's not great like Josh Allen. And even Jim Kelly will admit that. And he said that. He doesn't have the same tools that Allen has. Right? Allen is a special player. And, we look back, like I said, if we look back in the Allen era without a Super Bowl, we don't have a Super Bowl with Josh Allen, that's going to be very depressing. We're going to wonder why. We're going to have questions why. And a lot of it's going to point back to McBean, the McBean era as well. And what they didn't do to help get this team to Super Bowl with that kind of quarterback on your team. That's a shame, right? We're not talking about a Baker Mayfield here, and there's not a shot at Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield's a really good quarterback. But Josh Allen's a different kind of quarterback. He's an MVP. He's a great quarterback. He's a tier 1 quarterback. There's no reason why he shouldn't have at least one Super Bowl when it's all said and done with Josh Allen. It shouldn't be. And if you don't win a Super Bowl, then that's a damn shame. We haven't even been to a Super Bowl yet with Josh Allen. So let's see. It's just a shame because I've seen some bad quarterbacks get to a Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl. And that tells you a lot. When we have a great quarterback and we can't even get there. And we have other quarterbacks that's gotten there that have Super Bowl championship rings that are nowhere near the quarterback Josh Allen is. What does that tell you, folks? It tells you we don't have that well-rounded of a team. It tells you we don't have the right leader leading the guys out onto the field, Sean McDermott. That tells you we don't have enough talent to make up for the flaws that we have on this team outside of Josh Allen. The truth. Once again, you guys can think how you want to think, and I'm okay with that. But once again, we're in the now, and the now says I can't think about the past and what we haven't accomplished. We're in week 6. We need to figure out a way to bounce back versus the Falcons and get this dub. Go into the bye week and figure shit out. If we lose this game against the Falcons on Monday Night Football, it's going to be the longest 2 weeks for Bills Mafia. I'm going to promise you that. And I'll be honest too, maybe this team needs to lose to make Brandon Beane get off his ass and make some moves. Because I don't think it's just one move. I think he needs to make Multiple moves. That's how I see it. Spin, if you want to be real, Pagula hired Bean because he's the owner and the one who does the actual hiring. McD chose Bean. Listen, obviously, Spin, we're not idiots. We know who has the checkbook, Spin. Obviously. That's a funny comment. Spin, clearly. We know this. We're not dumb. But McDermott brung him in, right? That was his guy from Carolina that he worked with. Clearly, it was McDermott's decision. Pagula just got out the fucking checkbook and wrote the check. Come on, man. Are you really going to go there, Spin? Duh. Like, come on, man. What are we talking about here? Holy shit. Spin. Really? Pagula's, he's the one that signs that he makes the final. Holy shit, I didn't know that. Spin. Spin with the comment of the week right there. Comment of the week. And 21, I'm 21, Bean easily, and 21, Bees, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. And 21, Bean easily could have traded for Odell and Vaughn. Rams were a step ahead of the right move at the right moment. Absolutely, and that's what I'm talking about. Look, was Odell anything after that? No. But was he something at that moment? Did he provide something for that team? Did Vaughn provide something for that team to just get them what they needed, which was a Super Bowl championship? Or at least at that moment, what their thinking was, if we bring these two guys in, does it increase our chances of getting to a Super Bowl and potentially winning a Super Bowl? The answer, yes. The outcome, Super Bowl. All right. So sometimes you got to make those moves. Roy, Keys carries a picture of Bean in his wallet. Too embarrassed to admit it. Yeah, man. You know. Speaking of, let me see here if I got. Hold on, guys. I want to pop something up. Give me 1 minute, guys. Give me 1 second. So, let's see here. Here is the injury report in case you guys wanted to see it. So, to no one's surprise, Curtis Samuel did not practice on Friday. He's hurt. How did he get hurt? I don't know. Opening up a packet of, chips or a packet of Pop-Tarts. I have no idea. Right? I couldn't tell you how he got hurt, but he's hurt again. Right? It's like, oh, man. Deion Dawkins, he's fine. DeMar Hamlin did not practice. Whatever. We're not playing him anyways. Dalton Kincaid was limited. I'm sure he'll be all right. Matt Milano, once again, to no one's surprise, he has the pec injury. Ed Oliver did return to practice on a limited basis. He is saying he probably will play Monday night. We'll see. It's really not his decision. It's going to be McDermott's and the rest of the coaching staff's decision if he plays or not. Taylor Rapp was a full participant. TJ Sanders is dealing with an injury with his knee, it looks like. Dorian Williams was a full participant in practice as well. So that's your injury report as we sit today. Let me get to some of your comments here. Roy, Spin, look at them Eagles, the almighty Eagles. Yeah, but you know what, Spin? What does the almighty Eagles have that the Buffalo Bills don't? Let me think. Oh, a Super Bowl. That's right. I almost forgot, right? Like, if I'm an Eagles fan, look, of course I'm not happy. Obviously, right? You want your team to win. At the end of the day, if you just came off a Super Bowl win, like, it's okay, right? Like, if we don't win again this year, that's okay. Like, I'm cool. Like, I got to celebrate a Super Bowl last year. I'm okay. That's something the Bills can't say. We can't say that, right? Like, if this year was going bad and we won a Super Bowl, whenever in the Allen era, I'd be like, okay, you know what? Damn, it sucks. We're just not built this year to win a Super Bowl again. We can't even say that. We can't say that. So I am not going to shit on any team that has recently, at least since I've been watching football since 1989, shit on, especially recently. Now, I said earlier, there's teams that are underperforming. And can the Eagles bounce back? Sure they can. They have talent. But even if they don't, who am I to rip on any team that has accomplished something that we have not? At least in the time that I've been watching football. I have no room to talk about what the fucking Eagles are doing. Right? I got to just tell you that this year, right now, something's wrong with them, and maybe they'll figure it out. But even if they don't, who gives a shit? They already accomplished what we haven't. They got 2, matter of fact, right, recently. So we have no room to talk about anybody. Facts. You're on point, Tom, is saying the things most podcasters won't. Yeah, I try. I'll tell you who does, though. Post-podium podcast, they are they're a little bit more harsh than me, right? A little bit more brutal with their takes, but they don't bite their tongue, boy. They're gonna say what they want to say. They're gonna tell you the things that you probably don't want to hear, but you're gonna have to hear, and that's why I enjoy their podcasts, and that's why I enjoy debating with Keys. I don't agree with all their takes, but a lot of their takes I do. And I'm sure the same with me. I'm sure, they agree with some things I say and don't agree with others. And that's fine. That's what makes this podcast thing pretty fun. Working a flight. I'll circle back later. Later, Keys. Keys is working, guys. He's works at the Buffalo airport, in case you don't know. It's too bad that Keys is leaving. I wanted to show you guys something. Let me see if I can pull that up. Hold on, guys. Bear with me one moment. I always be messing around with Keys on this stuff, man. He I get bored at night when I'm at work, so I be making these images up. Let me hear. So we got Keys, Karate Kid Part 5. It's Keys Revenge. So I made that for Keys the other day. I thought that was pretty good. Let me see. And I'll tell you what, Keys takes, like, he's a trooper, man. He never gets offended by anything that anything I do here with the AI stuff. Let me see if I have more. I have. He's gonna hate me that I maybe he won't. Let me see here. I did have something else here that was pretty good. Oh, this is a good one here. Let me see here. You got this one, him and Mr. T. Him interviewing Mr. T. The funny thing is the shirt, and not even make the shirt say that. It says, I'll pop it up. Hold on. I'll show you the shirt. It's great. It's great. I don't know if you guys read that offhand, but let me see here. Let me show if I could show you. So it says, I pity the fools who doubt Buffalo. Anyways, I thought you guys get a trip out of that. I'll always be messing with him on that stuff, man. How you doing, Robert, man? Good evening to you. I'll be on here till about 10 o'clock tonight. Mikey may be a no-show tonight. What time? It's 9 o'clock right now. So if he does pop on, it'll probably be on later, 9:30-ish. Really at the tail end of the show. So, but I don't expect him to be on tonight. Usually when he tells me stuff like work meeting, that means not going to be there. So Spin, did the show go early today? It did. So, because I got to leave at 10 for work on Fridays, you know, I'm doing this bouncing gig till November 21st. I figured, you know what, instead of just doing the normal show from 9 to 10, I'll do it from 8 to 10, you know, because normally we go from 9 to 11. But Mikey's like, well, you know what, why don't you just go a little earlier? So I'm like, all right, fuck it. So starting the show at 8 o'clock moving forward until the 21st of November. So yeah, expect me here at 8 p.m. So guys, I had this pulled up too. I don't know if you guys were here or some of you guys missed earlier, and I was asking about, you know, about the Bills. Do they have a killer instinct? And I just don't think they do. Those who have joined the podcast right now, didn't catch the early beginning of that, let me know. Do the Bills have a killer instinct? I say no. I just don't think they do. Cole, would you bring AJ Brown in if the opportunity presented itself? You know, I've seen a lot of Bills fans say no. I've seen a lot of Bills fans say he wouldn't fit the scheme. Stop with that. Stop with the noise. Listen, if he's available and somehow the Bills can get him and make it work with the contract and all that stuff, of course I would bring him in. Of course. Stop with the scheme thing. If we happen to have a receiver that good in this offense, it's not going to change as far as the receiver room all of a sudden is like, oh, you brought this guy in now? Oh, Mr. Superstar AJ Brown. Now we're not going to get our opportunities. And, you know, I don't believe that. And I don't believe that Joe Brady would be like, you know, look, you know, Bean, I know we just got this guy. I know you traded for him, but, you know, what we're doing is working, even though it's not. You know, and, you know, I'm going to tell Allen, even though he's open, let's look another way. I'm not going to scheme him up anything. Like, stop. Would you guys stop with that? It's the most naive thing ever. And I don't mean to say that. I take that back. You guys can think how you want to think. It's just opinion based. But if you have a special talent, right, that comes in here, there's no way in hell, or at least I can't see it happening, that the offensive coordinator would just avoid it and go, no, he doesn't fit what I want here. Even though he's going to get open, we're not going to throw his way. Even though he's a talented receiver and he could beat man coverage, we're still going to do what we want to do, and we're not going to look his way. Like, I don't buy that. I just don't. And why would we do that? It just wouldn't make any sense. So yeah, would I like a player like that here? Will he come here? No, probably not. I don't see Bean making a move like that. And he's also, I'll say this about the Brown thing. I don't know if Bean would want a guy that's kind of acting out a little bit on the sideline. We had that problem with Diggs, and I don't know if Bean would necessarily want to bring that here. But once again, if he did and Bean was like, fuck it, I think we can make it work, ain't no way in hell Buffalo Bills fans are saying, oh, AJ Brown, I don't want that guy here. Trash. He doesn't fit our scheme. Like, come on, man. Stop it. Stop it. Look, we need help. We need help, you know, getting early separation of routes. We need a playmaker in the receiver room. And I'm not shitting on our receivers. I like some of our receivers. But they're B to B plus receivers right now. They're not respected. Defenses play man against us all the time because they don't respect our receivers. We don't go downfield often because we can't. We don't have that type of player. We don't have a good go-to perimeter player. We just don't. Those are facts. So, yeah, bringing in talent here and saying you're not going to use the talent because he works against what you've built, your scheme, it just doesn't make sense. To me, at least. And if they did that, that's a fireable offense. Abso-fucking-lutely it is. Bringing in that kind of talent and not using his potential out in the football field because you want to do things the way you think it should be done, even though you're struggling in that room, makes no sense. So yeah, no, I don't believe it. There's just no way. I couldn't see it happening. So we'll see what happens. But do I think A.J. Brown will come here? No. Not that he would come. Would Bean pull the trigger on that? No, I don't. Would I like him to? I would like him to pull a trigger on anybody that's going to make an impact for this team, that can move the needle and help his team chances of going to a Super Bowl, potentially winning a Super Bowl. So whether that be a defensive player, offensive player, doesn't matter to me, folks. I'm going to be honest with you. And I know a lot of you guys are like, fuck a receiver. We need defense. Guys, we've been concentrating on defense for the fucking 7 years. That's done shit. Nothing. So at this point, just give me anybody that can move the needle, that can help this team. Anything. I'll take it. Right? Come on. What are we talking about here? Same old being hurt is freaking wild. Like, seriously, bro. He just played a game, dog. Yeah, dude is always hurt, bro. Dude got hurt opening up his mail. I don't know. Oh, my God. Good evening, Tommy. Robert. I already said that. I'm sorry, Robert. Hey, Keys is back. Keys is back. Speen is giving the people what they want. A non-rush shows. Started, what is Spin complaining? Or what's, no. Okay. Keys, you tell him, Keys. Keys, by the way, I showed him some of your movie trailer posters. Oh no, I was for real. He has to work, so he didn't want to do an hour show on it. Yeah, Keys the man. Keys is the man. Keys got my back, dog. Keys is popping his collar. We need that Press X guy. I don't care who covered him. Where he is, just Press X. PlayStation reference. Yeah. Oh my God. Oh, I heard. You did, didn't you? You did. Keys is like, you son of a bitch. I wish I could find the one with you and Brandon Bean. Oh, here's a good one. Now remember, guys, this is a guy in Keys who talks hella trash about my man Motor Singletary. And look who's doing an interview at a sports bar with Motor Singletary. Yeah, that's right. That's Keys right there. Right? And look at him. Keys and Motor Singletary. The guy that Keys says he doesn't like, that he hates. There he is, folks. Right there. Motor Singletary with Keys. At a sports bar, living it up. Having some beers and wings. And, come on, man. Come on, Keys. Why you gotta? I don't know why you gotta lie and say you're not a fan when the proof is right there. The proof is right there. I even have Keys back in the day roller skating with O.J. Simpson. You can't make this up. This is real. I mean, that's Keys right there. He has his headphones on. I don't know what music he's listening to right there, but it has to be some OJs. They're in California there. OJ invited him out to do some roller skating. And yeah, that's him and OJ, guys. So. Oh my God. Dude. Look at that mic just hanging there. Hey, look, man, I didn't tell you to put the mic there. That's your fault. That's me as a child. yeah. That was Keys when he was 12 years old. 6'7". He grew a little early. Keys is lucky. OJ not wearing small gloves. Oh my God, dude. Guys, I can't get enough of that stuff, man. I be like I said, I be messing with Keys all the time. That's OJ and Keys, and OJ's Bronco. You know, something with that Keys, always wearing that same shirt. Always got those headphones on, man. Anyways. All right, Keys, I'm done messing with you, man. Oh, God. So was Keys OJ's getaway driver? He might have been. Was that you, Keys? Were you helping OJ get away? My lucky shirt, right? Yeah. Anyways, let's dive into some other stuff that's Bills related, not just Keys with OJ, hanging out with OJ. Let's see. We got some things to watch for, courtesy of Bills Wire here. Let's get to that real quick. Things to watch for. Going into Monday night's game. All right, here we go. Things to watch for. Bounce back start. Yeah, we need a bounce back start for sure. Right? Newer quarterback on the block who makes mistakes, by the way. Will the Bills capitalize on his mistakes? Where they get to him, right? Where they put pressure on him, right? Force him to make mistakes. We'll see. Bye week vibe. Says this was not mentioned in the last one, but the Falcons' last game was in week 4. Atlanta has a rested team as they're coming off their early season bye last weekend. Speaking of, for Buffalo, the Bills will play in Atlanta, then head into their own bye week next week. The Bills will not want to take a week off on a sour note. Which team gets that boost? Related to their bye week as opposed to nugget of disappointment. Hitting the ground. Of course, we need to get back to that, right? Though I thought we did it well last week, but the Patriots brung in a good defense. Keon, the Bills got a big game from tight end Dalton Kincaid despite losing to the Patriots. Wide receiver Keon Coleman had a touchdown, but fumbled. Start of the game benched. And a statement is a statement coming from Coleman. And no, there isn't, because he already came out and hey, look who
What's
it
up,
is,
brother?
Mr. Mikey. So I started the show, and I'm glad you're here. By the way, welcome,
Thank you.
happy Friday. I started the show. Thank you so much. Started the show asking a really good question.
Okay.
And that is right below in the ticker. Now, can you see it? Do the Bills have a killer instinct, Mikey? Do they have a killer instinct? I say no, and they should. Mikey, your thoughts?
No, and they should.
I like it. I like it.
Honestly, nothing that I have seen from them through the years. Like, there's been times that they have. It's not consistent.
Correct. I said I thought they had it early in the process of becoming what they are today. I felt like they had it in like 2020. That's where it kind of started, right? Where, 2019, you got to the playoffs. That's a fluke. And then 2020, they still had that, right? And then even 2021, they still have the doubters about Josh Allen and, he can't repeat what he did last year. So I felt like they still had that. We have something to prove. We're going to go on there. We're going to fucking prove something. We're going to, we're going to squash this fucking team. We're going to show. And I just feel like over maybe the last 2-3 seasons, that's not the approach. I almost feel like they give too much respect for their opponents. They go into the game just, let's just get a dub, right? Instead of going, we know who the fuck we are. Let's go out there and kick some fucking ass. And I just don't see it. Now, at times during the course of a game, I'll see some aggression. I'll see that fire. But I don't know, Mikey. I just feel like it's not as hot as it used to be, that fire, that killer instinct. And really, honestly, I don't get it from McDermott either. Just way too much respect.
I think it's a McDermott thing. I don't think McDermott's ever really had that killer instinct. Because I've watched him take his foot off, Belichick's throat numerous times. Like even in the perfect game that we had, late in that game, he took his foot off the throat.
He did.
How many times have we seen Josh Allen sit out fourth quarters?
Right.
Third quarters. He pulls mercy on almost everybody.
He does.
He'll go up by 2 or 3 scores, and they'll get super conservative, and teams will slowly come back into the game. Now, we're good enough that we can do things like that and still win, but I think that's also part of the problem. When in those tight playoff games, is we just don't have that killer instinct, and I think Josh has it. I just think they keep it, under lock and key, because you saw it in the 13-second game, and you saw how crazy he got.
Yeah. I still, like you said, I think he has it, and at times you see it, but you might be right. They might kind of, maybe it's more bottled in than it should be. I just feel like, once again, I feel like we go through these games just like giving way too much, respect, right? And I'm not saying don't respect your opponent, but at the same time, it's like when you're going against teams that you should win, especially teams that come on, the Jets, the Dolphins, even the Patriots, even though the Patriots are, trending in the right direction, we are the better team. We have the better quarterback. We've been around. We should win that game at home. You should have that killer instinct. Go, man. I don't fuck that team. Or you know what I mean? Like we're gonna show who the fuck we are. We're gonna wipe the floor with them and be done with them and move forward. And I don't see it. I just feel like they just go through the motions. Let's just get the dub. Let's just get out of there with a win. Let's just, and then we'll worry about next week. It's just like, guys, like, know who you are, right? You've won this division 5 straight times. You have the best quarterback in football. Start acting like it. Start acting like you've been there before, that you are a team that you don't want to fuck around with, right? And I just, once again, now I pulled up the AI. I was curious what AI had to say about it.
Before you move on to that, I also think part of it, it's so hard, because when you watch the league, right? There's 3 teams in this league that have the killer instinct.
Yeah.
It's part of it. There's 3 teams. The Lions. The Chiefs.
Yeah.
And the Rams maybe.
Yeah, but to somebody was saying earlier, and I was saying it too, like, and we concentrate on our team because that's what we do here. Now, this year's funky, right? There's a lot of teams underperforming. I talked about the Eagles getting just like blown out last night, which is crazy. However, I can't even really sit here as a Bills fan, and be like, oh, it's fucking Eagles suck this year. Listen, if the Eagles, let's say, Mikey, the Eagles have an off year. Let's just say they just don't have a good year this year. Let's just say they're not what they were last year. Who cares? They won a Super Bowl last year. Like, if I'm a fan, I'm going, you know what? I know we can bounce back. You know what? Maybe we'll do it next year because I have faith in my team. We've won 2 Super Bowls in the past, 5 years, 6 years? Same thing with Chiefs, right? Let's say the Chiefs, for some reason, just have an off season. As a fan, you still can go, you know what? Yeah, we're a fucking good team, and we'll bounce back from this next year. Like, I believe in. We can't say that about this team. That's the one thing we can't do as a Bills fan. Like, it's the same thing. We're a good team, regular season team, and we flake in the playoffs. We just, we have no answer. So I can't say like, oh, this is going to be an off season for us. We'll be okay next year. Will we? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, we haven't been there yet, but we also haven't proven anything yet. You get what I'm saying? So I don't know. I just feel like this team has way too many flaws as well, Mikey, and we need to correct shit. But anyways, let me go to this AI thing. So AI says, and I asked, do the Bills have killer instinct? So here's arguments for Bills having a killer instinct. Quarterback Josh Allen. Allen is often cited as a player with a killer instinct due to his aggressive style and willingness to take big risks in crucial moments. I think we can agree with that.
Yep.
Defense aggression. Former player Von Miller once described the Bills' defense as a killer instinct in 2022. See, I don't agree with that. Highlighting their relentless energy and focus on not letting up when they had a lead, according to Bills Wire. See, That I don't know about, but what do you think about that statement there?
What do you expect Vaughn to say?
Right, exactly. He was Mr. Positive here. So
in 2022, during that first stint before he tore his ACL, we had a really good defense, and they were getting after people. In 2020,
yeah, much better. Yeah, I'll agree with that at some level.
That 2024 wasn't that, but 2022, like in that 8-game stretch when Vaughn was there being the closer, he was like they were dangerous and had that killer instinct on defense because they were getting after people.
Right. Yep. And then they say offensive line leadership in 2020. Then offensive line Feliciano return was credited with instilling a swagger, the juice, the killer instinct, and the offensive notes. I don't know why they mentioned him, but okay. Now arguments against the Bills having a killer instinct. Inconsistent finishing. Critics argue the teams often lacks the ability to put away bad teams or throw a knockout punch, suggesting they don't have a finish them instinct. I agree. Mikey?
No. Like we talked about that, yeah.
Yep. Struggles against good teams. This team has been criticized for being flat at the start of games or allowing opponents to come back, such as week 1 against the Ravens in 2025 that required a late comeback. Yeah, I mean, it depends. We started off well against the Jets. We didn't start well against the Dolphins or the Saints. No?
Yeah, okay. I don't agree with that because you saw us go toe last year. We went toe to toe. We beat the Chiefs. We went toe to toe. Lost to the Rams in a close one. We went toe to toe against and beat the Lions. Like, I wouldn't say that we struggle against good teams. We still beat the good teams. You know.
Okay.
If you want to call it out against the Ravens, it's a bad matchup, and that we always struggle against them.
Yeah, I guess I'll go kind of with that against good teams, but we did struggle early this year against not great teams, though. All right, against
we always play with our food, and it's a McDermott special.
Yep. Poor early game execution. The Bills are sometimes described as sloppy or needing a miracle to win, and they are seen as struggling to consistently maintain momentum throughout a full game.
I would agree that I would get rid of the early game. Outside of last week, we started off on offense hot all year long. It's usually in the second quarter when we go into this funk. Second quarter, and then in third quarter we come out and we kind of flip the switch and we move on. So we start the game hot, we go through a lull, and then in the second half we get hot, we go through a lull, and then we get hot. And so it's like an up and down thing with the Bills, and that's how they've been. It used to be we got hot at the early. We had a third quarter lull, and then we got hot in the fourth.
Yeah.
So I never would look at it from an early, struggles. I don't think we've ever really struggled early.
Yeah. Robert coming in, being a searcher for the NFL retirement home for players. Yeah, look, we do that as well. We get a lot of aging players. And my thing is, I don't mind some aging players come here, but at least bring the right ones in. Yeah. Right. At least bring the guys that can at least bring you some kind of something, right? Something to the team that helps the team, not guys that are going to constantly be hurt or not give any type of impact or be, not dressed or whatever the case may be. We tend to do that. We've signed some guys, though, to be fair, that have done well this year. Shaq Thompson is a vet. I feel like he's performing pretty well for his age. So not all the vet signings have been bad. I think Joey Bosa, we can consider him a vet now. Joey Bosa has been a pretty good signing. Stories still yet to be told, but as of we sit right now, it's a good signing as long as that can continue.
I'm excited to see what Hoyt and Ogunjobi will bring when they come back.
Exactly. We don't know yet on that. Yeah.
I mean, we can look at it. Palmer hasn't lit it up, but I don't think that's a Palmer thing. I think that's a scheme thing. We haven't really seen much from Trey. Trey's been kind of a disappointment to this point. Dane Jackson's on the practice squad. So we have those vets. Like, honestly, if we were going to make a deal for someone, at Cambert Taylor, from the Bengals, who just got benched. Tyreek Woolen from Seattle, who just recently got benched. Let's bring those younger guys in and see if we can get a spark back to what they were.
Absolutely.
And CC. I don't need to see, Rasul Douglas back here.
Correct. I'm with you. Bringing somebody that's not working out, that has upside. If that's the route you're going, though. Now, if you're going a different route, which me and Mikey, we're on the fence here with what Bean will do. We're talking trade deadline. If he's going the route of impactful right now, or hey, we're not, it doesn't matter if you're a vet or rookie, whatever, or second year in the league, then yeah, I don't then go do it, right? It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter if you're a vet or I don't give a shit. But if you're going with the guy that, you're using for depth, you're going to make a trade for a guy, rotational depth. I'd much rather have a younger guy than we have enough vets. We have enough.
I don't want a vet coming in and starting. I want one of these younger guys.
That's what I'm saying.
Tyreek Woolen. Spin asked, isn't he a nickel? No, he's like a 6'4" outside corner. They moved him to nickel, and he wasn't as good. He was really good his first 2-3 years in the league, and then they changed his position because they drafted Witherspoon, and they had somebody, and they had I think Kobe Bryant. And he's a zone corner who can play a little bit of man. That's big, long, fast. That's the type of guy we should be going in and trying to invest in. Bring him in, let him try to figure it out in this zone defense.
Yep. By the way, I don't know if you saw the injury report, but Curtis Samuel's back on it.
Of course, he played a game.
To no one's surprise. It's just that's one of many bad signings.
Kincaid's back on it.
Years. Kincaid is back on it. Hopefully it's something small, nothing crazy. It's
a oblique, I believe. He's non-contact. Okay. They said it
used him too much.
He's gonna play. It looks like he's gonna play. But we'll see.
He was targeted too many times.
I need to see some of these defensive tackles get freaking healthy, man. I need to see Ed back out there.
Ed's saying he may play Monday.
I don't see it. I think they're gonna wait till
and it's not up to him. It's up to the coaching staff.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you though, Mikey. I almost would just say sit him out anyways, because you got the bye week coming up. We rush back Milano, it seems like, with the pec injury, and how'd that work out? It's just at this point, setback. Man, yeah, it's a setback. At this point, you sit him out. You might as well sit him out. You sat him out this long. Sit him out against the Falcons. Let him rest against in the bye week, and then I think we play the Chiefs, right? Week 9, right?
Or the
following week.
Yeah, so week 9 is the Chiefs, because week 8 is the Panthers. We come out of the
Panthers.
Bye.
That's right. So even then, you don't really. You could dress him, and maybe
you want him playing against the Panthers to knock off that rust.
Right. Exactly. So maybe not a lot of snap count. Maybe rotate him a little bit, kind of get him in the flow.
And Hoyt, get all of them a few snaps to get him ready to go.
Exactly. So that's what I would do. But we'll see. Knowing the Bills, they rush out Ed Oliver against the Falcons, and Ed's hopping to the sideline again, and then we're going to be like, "Here you go," right? So hopefully they make the right decision with that, because I think we can. I think we don't. We always need them, but I think that's a game we could possibly do without him. You know what I mean? We'll be okay. You know what I mean? We need him more down the stretch than.
I need him healthy for the playoffs.
6. Exactly. That's what I mean. Down the stretch, going into the playoffs. So clearly you see the impact that he has on the field, right? When he's there and when he's not there. And that's why what's going on, brother? That's why I was talking about earlier about players that we've drafted that are impactful. Say what you want. I mean, I would say right now, Ed Oliver, first round, I think he was the number 10 selected. That's a borderline. I think it's a ninth. Okay, I thought he was 10th, but either way.
Either one.
Yeah. I would say right now, I want to be comfortable saying that's a great top 10 pick, but I would be on the fence with it because I think he has potential when you see him on the field.
Top 10
pick. I think it's on the fence. I think it can go either way. I think there's times that He doesn't always show up throughout his course here. But either way, I think that's a good argument to have. But that's a great argument, right? So if people are saying one thing or the other, that means he's close to it, right? Fans see it one way or the other. But either way, we haven't had a lot, right? I would say Allen, Cook, and I'm talking about through the first 3 rounds. Allen, Cook, I would say Ed. That's fair to say. And I would say Wyatt Teller, but he's not here. Like, I'm talking about, impactful players. I don't think he was round 3. What was Teller? Where was Teller at?
6.
Exactly. So,
5, 6, like that.
Yeah. Who else that was like impactful? I would say Edmonds. He's not here. He was a good pick. Somewhat like early on.
Mm-hmm.
But we haven't had many like unbelievable great players for the first 4 rounds. Like we've had
James, Josh.
Yeah.
Cybo's
on his way. Yeah,
Brown.
Cybo's definitely on his way. Spencer Brown now has gotten there.
Mm-hmm.
Rousseau's
been really good for a late first round pick.
I guess I was talking about that because I was like, if we do trade some picks away, what is it really like? A lot of our first 3 rounds haven't really necessarily worked out necessarily. So giving up for an impactful player, I don't think is a big deal for me because it's not guaranteed and it hasn't been guaranteed. A lot of these guys are either getting hurt or they're not working out, or Kyrie Elam gone, right? Max Harrison already, who knows if he even plays this season? Doesn't seem like he's going to. Obviously we don't know yet. The verdict's still out. Keon Coleman round 2, inconsistent right now, right? We'll see. I don't know. So who cares if you give up a round 1 or round 2
Cody
for
Ford,
a really good player?
gone.
Yeah, exactly. So that's
Basham, gone.
Boogie Basham gone. Yeah. So, hoarding these picks sometimes, man, they're not guarantees and they haven't been guarantees for this team. And to me, Bean has to eventually go, okay, you know what? I really, the truth, I got to look in the mirror and say, hey, these, some of these players just haven't been working. Maybe I should go and trade our second round for a guy that I know can work, I know can move the needle. But will he? I don't think so.
We also thought that when we brought in Puna Ford, we're like, oh, that's going to be a great signing. And it didn't work here. So
should have been.
It should have been, but it didn't work here. That's the problem with assuming, okay, this guy's going to work. Just because he worked somewhere else doesn't mean he's going to work here. There's guys who work here, like, Shaq Lawson, Jordan Phillips. They didn't work anywhere else. They were good here.
Yeah, you're right.
But they weren't good anywhere else. It's and then you have had guys who, Tim Settle. Tim Settle was not good here. But he's been good in Houston.
Yeah, he's been a reliable player. Yep.
Ton of money being a one tech for the Chargers and now the Rams. Like, it's wild.
It is wild. Yeah.
It goes back to scheme. It all goes back to scheme.
He goes back to scheme. Absolutely. No, absolutely. I believe that too. But either way, man, I do feel like whether we win or lose Monday, I don't want Bean sitting on his hands at the deadline. Like, I feel like the way this season's going, there's been a lot of underperforming teams that are probably going to be sellers. This might be the season where you see the most action for teams that are going.
To see it.
You're already exactly. That's my point.
You saw Newsome and Campbell get swapped.
Exactly.
You saw
Flacco's gone.
You saw Owe get traded to the Chargers. He had 10 sacks last year at a defensive end.
Exactly. So it's starting already.
Flacco. And you're seeing some interdivision trades too, which is the wild part.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of underperforming teams that are seeing the outcome and going, you know what? Maybe it's just in our year. Let's stock up on capital or whatever. Let's move on from this guy and we'll worry about it in the offseason. And I feel like there's going to be a lot of sellers. And there's obviously going to be buyers that and Buffalo should be one of them. If you feel that my thing is this, Mikey, because I got to thinking the other day and somebody, I was listening to the radio over here in Detroit on the way to work. And the host was like, you know what? Because callers are calling in and it was kind of like what we have, this kind of not debate, but where me and you in the chat. It was like, no, I don't want a receiver. I want, a corner, or I want this, or I want a safety, or I want an edge. And the caller called and he's like, yeah, but I wanted, I don't know what he said. I wanted bats. I wanted bats. And the radio host was like, he's like, look, at the end of the day, I didn't give a fuck talking about the Tigers, who the Tigers traded for, as long as the guy could do something, make an impact, like get this team better. It doesn't matter. And for me, I'm on the same boat. Like, look, do I want multiple trades and we can fill every position that we need? Sure. Is that going to happen? Is that a reality? No. So honestly, Mikey, it does for me. If they don't get a receiver and they bring in a corner, as long as he's an impactful player, I'll be happy. As long as he can make this team better, is my point. And the Tigers, and his reasoning when he was talking about that, is at the deadline, the Tigers, they did nothing. They traded for old, sorry ass pitchers that gave nothing to the team. They're garbage. So he's like, man, like I wouldn't care if it was one guy that was impactful. He's like, I wanted a pitcher, but if it was a bat, I would have been fine with it as long as the guy gave something. You know what I mean? Like provided something to the team. I would have been happy for that. You know what I mean? But the fact that you did nothing, or you just got garbage, just to add on top of the garbage, it doesn't make sense. So that's, I guess, where I'm going with it. If the Bills made a trade, and I'm all for like, hey, I think we need a receiver to help. But if they got a corner, I would be like, bro, and he could help. Hey, fucking A right. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be all for it. Anything that can help this team, Mikey, I'm for. Just go do it. Don't just make a trade and bring in a fucking guy that is going to do nothing. Then I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Then I don't give two shits.
Well, here's the problem. It goes back to what I was just talking about. We can think we're going to bring in a guy who's good help, but one, he doesn't know offense or defense. He's going to have to learn it. He's going to have to figure out quick. And we know how our coaching staff is. Unless they trust them to be in the right spot at the right time, they're not going to put him out there. So at this point, what are we really going to get? Like, Rasul Douglas worked because he had Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde telling him where to be.
True.
Every other one that we've traded for mid-season, even Cooper. Like, Cooper showed up and he was a great distraction, but he didn't produce
I think
anything.
That was the reason. Yeah, no, he didn't. Well, I want to say he didn't produce anything. He had himself some nice catches, some decent games.
He had
in the regular season. He didn't in the playoffs. No, I know, I get that, but you're also right though. He also had the wrist injury. Let's not forget that.
Yeah.
That okay. And he also, because of the wrist injury, he missed time, which was time with Josh Allen to get familiar and get chemistry. So you kind of got to add that in. It's kind of a little bit unfair to be like, oh, he didn't do shit, but he had some setbacks. And, let's face the facts. He was getting older in age. He wasn't the same Cooper, but when healthy, you saw some of the plays he made here for us. So, and you also saw the defense give him a little bit more respect than our other players and open up a little bit more. So all I'm saying is, look, I get what your point is. Like, will our coaches even get these? But some players are different. Not every player is the same as the other guy. So, there's teams around the league that do trades and sometimes they don't work out, but some players come on and they adapt quick. They get on the field quick and they make plays, right? It doesn't matter about the different scheme. It doesn't matter what kind of offensive scheme. They go out there, they do what they do best, and that's play football and do it at a high level. So certain players can do that. You know what I mean? Look at the Rams, OBJ. OBJ was kind of a shell of himself before he went to the Rams. He wasn't performing, but he performed just good enough. Just a slight bit of OBJ to provide a spark. And Von Miller, same thing. When in LA, did his thing. They won a Super Bowl, right? They instant impact. So you're right. Can a player come here and adapt, and with a coaching staff, let them adapt and play? I don't know until the player gets here, Mikey. So we'll see.
Jimmy is up, just so you know, Sal. The kid, he was signed to the 53 last week.
Oh, Charlo,
or
whatever his name is.
Yeah. He is up. One thing that was nice to hear is Dorian Strong was back in his jersey on the sidelines today. He's on IR, so he's back from his evaluation. We haven't heard anything, but he was on the sidelines today in his jersey just hanging out. So the fact that he's in the back's a positive,
that is
hopefully
a good
that
sign.
means maybe it's not season ending and it's just the 4 weeks and then we can get him back. Because
no, it's a good sign.
I like the idea of having Strong coming back.
No, I like this. I'll be honest with you. I liked what I saw from him early on. It just sucks that he got hurt. And at this point, I think I know, and of course McDermott's so stubborn about this stuff, but he needs to make a decision on Trey White. There's going to be a time where
what his decision is.
Yeah, but he needs to be real. I mean, I know, and but maybe he doesn't get it, and he needs to go and honestly be real with himself, be real with the player that's there, and go, hey, I love the guy. He knows this, like all that good stuff, locker. But is he helping on the field? Is he hurting us? He has to do that eventually and make the right decision.
The question is do we have anybody in the room that's better than him?
Right now, probably not. And that's the problem, right? And I get where you're going with that. And I'm probably agreeing with you there, but that's a problem. Right? That's a problem.
That's why I say if we're gonna make a move, it should probably be for corner.
It should be.
Or maybe we just let Hancock get a shot out there. He's played outside corner before.
Right. Yeah. Now, who's to say they're not doing that at practice or try, maybe seeing or have already, and maybe they're not comfortable. I don't know, but the fact is Trey's still out there. And the fact is Trey's still getting cooked out there as well. So, and that's not going to change. Trey is not going to all of a sudden, be the old Trey overnight. Like, this is who we got. And I'm not shitting on him, but this is Trey. Like, this is the current Trey White. This is the best you're going to get. And the reason I say that is because he's healthy. This is the best version of Trey White we're going to see. And great for depth, great for the locker room, great for younger guys. Cool. We need a better CB2. We need a younger guy there that could keep up.
Sal, he played just special teams. They were asking about Jimmy. He was just special teams. He didn't get any actual snaps.
Yeah.
What
time is it? Because I got to leave at 10. Yeah. Let me see here. 9:40. What time is it? 9:42. Oh, we got a little time. Yeah. So, back on this. So, the Bills. Mikey, what would you like to see this Bills team do, win or lose, doesn't matter, against the Falcons going into the bye week? Do you think right? But into the bye week. Bye weeks,
they win.
Can't win during. Yeah, can't win during. But win or lose, I'm saying. So after this week, right? Over. It's done. We got a bye week. What should the Bills be doing? Should the Bills be on the phone? Should Bean be trying to figure out how to potentially make a trade, or should the Bills just kind of sit still?
It depends on what the results are on Strong and where Harrison's at. Because here's the problem with Harrison. Harrison practiced 4 practices and training camp, so he doesn't have any time on task at all. So I don't know how much he's going to actually get in the game because he still has a lot of catching up to do. But if Dorian Strong's going to just be out the 4 weeks, then you figure it out until Dorian Strong's ready to come back. And then, because he has time on task and we've seen him in some games. Has he been great? No. Has he been better than Trey? Yes. Okay. I want to see the young guys play. If, their plan for Harrison isn't going to be, he's going to basically have a redshirt year. You know what I mean? Then, I want to see him on the phone going out and trying to get a young corner, Brett Taylor, Woolen, or whoever else is available. Like, there's an Asante Samuel sitting out there still.
He is. Yeah, and he's just sitting there. Simmons, I believe, is still sitting out there, right? Safety, correct? Weird that they want to even take a paycheck.
Well, here's the problem is they love Taylor Rapp, so they're not going to get rid of him, but he's been the problem at safety. It hasn't even been Bishop. Bishop's been good.
Yeah. No, I hear. Well, he's gotten better each week. I feel like so. Yeah.
I'm with you. Trending the way you want. Could they go out and try to get a linebacker? Yes, because our linebacker depth is scarce, brother. We had to bring back Braylon Spector. injury spectrum.
So let's say Monday night we have the same result in the receiver room. So let's just say, just throwing this out there, let's say, we're at halftime, we got, 6 points, 7 points, and our offense is just kind of in a funk, right? And we have the same kind of results after the game. What do you feel this receiver room needs to do then? What do you want to see happen then? Because that would be now we're talking about
they're not going to do anything. Here's the problem: they're not going to do anything at the receiver room because Samuel makes what Samuel makes, and they don't
Samuel's
have
not even playing. So just
I'm saying he makes what he makes. We don't have the capital to go out and get someone who's going to be better than what we have. We just don't.
Well, there's always a ways. I don't buy that. There's always a way to, if they want somebody.
If they wanted to, but they're not. But they're not going to. Because that's not.
So let me throw another name. So let's throw another name out there then. So if they don't go out there, let's say they don't do that, which might be right. Maybe they don't. Is there a receiver, either a free agent that you would like to see that's floating out there? What about Gabe Davis when he's healthy? Would you give him a call up?
I think that's their plan. I really do. I think their plan is to see what they have. If because Gabe's a blocker and he has chemistry with Josh. He understands what we've done. He has a little bit of experience with Joe Brady in the offense. I really honestly believe Gabe is their plan B. If this isn't going to work, they're not going out into the trade for someone. They're just going to call Gabe up and see what he's got once he's ready to go.
So it's kind of like they're just like we know. Let's have him heal up here. Let's sign him. Keep him on the practice squad. No one's going to pick him up anyways, right? Let's get him into rehab. And if things aren't going right by, the halfway point, let's go ahead and give him a call up. Is basically what you think their process was.
Because they signed him and he went straight on to the practice squad IR. So he was going to be out the 4 weeks. As he finishes healing up from his meniscus, and then he'll open up his window. So I think towards the end of the season, if things aren't going well, because I don't think, regardless of what happens this week, the receiver room's not changing. It is what it is.
All right.
I just don't see them doing. There's been nothing that showed me that they're willing to do it. Like last year, they were forced to do it because they didn't have anybody else.
What about if there's a deal out there for like an Olave? A guy that's still on his rookie contract.
I pray to God they make that move because he brings in something we don't have. That all around receiver that we talked about.
Because I know your point on. Sorry to cut you off. I know your point about Samuel and the fact that look, no one's going to want him in a trade because of his contract. He can't even stay healthy anyways. But it seems to me they have no problem making him inactive. If they have the right receiving group in there. They did it for the first 3 weeks. The only reason he's playing now is because of injuries. And really to see what they got in him, if he could provide anything, and he really hasn't. So bringing in Olave, let's say they do that, and they can get a cheap, they can give a 6th round, 5th round, whatever.
I'd say right? More than that, but yeah.
But let's say they pull off they send a player, and they have 5th round and a player. I'm just throwing something out there. I don't see a problem. They would make Curtis Samuel a healthy scratch every week if for that guy.
Well, they would have to, depending on who they moved, they would have to cut someone from the wide receiver room, and it would either be Moore or it would be Shavers.
It would probably be Shavers back to the practice squad, and then they wouldn't care if somebody picked him up.
Yeah,
he hasn't done anything.
It's one of those two that would go down, and then they would have someone as the thing. But here's the problem trading for,
or they could have Connaughton inactive like they've been doing.
Well, I think Connaughton's going to be cut soon anyways because we have to make room for Hoyt and Ogunjobi.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm just throwing that out there too. They seem to have no problem with. And it's such an odd thing because, guys, we talked about this to start the season. That's why we didn't have the Bills signing Connaughton, because we were like, they did it before in the playoffs. Like, what makes you think they won't make him inactive? And why would you sign a guy if you're just going to have him inactive? It makes no sense when he only does one thing. He's a kick returner. That's it.
Going back to Olave, you're now bringing another guy in who has a history of injuries.
True. but
every year.
Yeah, I get it, but depending on what you give up for him, I mean, he's on his rookie deal. Who gives a fuck?
Last year,
you're not giving him a big con. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what? It'd be a rental, but
a rental who has zero experience in the Joe Brady offense would have to come in and learn it.
But a rental on if you could pull off a decent trade where it's not it'll make what is our draft picks?
Don't do it. I'm telling you why I don't think it will.
For me, no, I get it. But for me, I think at times, and that's where I feel like Bean, and I like Bean, but this is where I feel like Bean also has issue. Like my issue with Bean is he doesn't like to step outside of his comfort zone and roll the dice. Now he's rolled the dice a few times. The Von Miller obviously was, that was I would say the biggest roll of the dice, right? Big contract, and obviously it kind of backfired. It wasn't his fault. I mean, the guy got hurt. The guy actually was doing what he was supposed to do, right? His first year, but he can't predict injuries either. He can't predict some guy blowing out his ACL. It's not. That could happen any player, right? That happened to the Lions, Hutchinson, and you just can't predict it. So it happens.
Same thing with corner CB2. He brought back Trey White, but Trey White was going to be the vet in the room, and then he drafted 2 young corners. No one could have predicted that Harrison was going to go down with 4 practices, and then Dorian Strong was going to go down with a neck in 2 games.
Right. It's football. It sucks.
Football. It sucks, but I'm not going to bash him for not having a plan Z for what he originally had planned.
Right.
He had the depth that he wanted, but it just dropped really quickly.
Right. That's where I'm going with this. Now that he sees that is where I need him to go step outside of his comfort zone and say, hey, I know I love my draft picks. I know, I love to keep them all, but I'm here. We're here. This is where the team sits today. Here's the players that just can't stay on the field or out and we need some help. And I got to give up some draft capital to get that help, regardless if he's a 1-year rental. And let's be real, 1-year rental, he does it all the time in free agency anyways. So who gives a shit, right?
Yeah. Who
cares? So hopefully he does that.
We'll see. At the end of the day,
we got to get to these predictions, and we'll just get to the predictions. So X factors and predictions is 950. So Mikey, go with your X factors for offense and defense.
X factors for offense. I think they're going to get back to it, and James Cook's going to be the X factor this week.
Okay.
On defense, I think Greg Rousseau is going to have another big. You're going to start seeing him take those steps. He had a bruised foot. He's coming off the bruised foot. Starting to get healthier and healthier. I thought last week he actually looked the best he's looked all season, and I'm expecting him to take another step.
Okay. Offensively, I did it last week, and I said Palmer. That was a huge mistake. I was just hoping I picked him. He'd do something, and he didn't. So I'll go. I guess I'm going to go another receiver. I'll go Keon Coleman. Right. Let's see if Keon Coleman
hurt yourself.
I know.
You're just talking about how bad this receiver room is, and you keep picking him to be the X factor.
I know. I'm gonna go Keon Coleman. Maybe he plays. Maybe he shows McDermott, that he's making up for whatever the fuck happened last week. And start being a little bit more aggressive and not make the same mistake and fumbling the ball and make up for last week's early performance. I thought he rebounded well in that game. At the end there, catching the touchdown, he was more reliable, but it didn't take it basically cost us kind of the game too, or that early fumble, and kind of got us in that funk. So he didn't make up for it. It wasn't enough. So maybe this game here, he makes up for that last week. So I'll pick Keon Coleman on offense. Defense. God. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Bosa.
Well.
I'm gonna go Bosa.
Yeah, who's been playing really well is Daquan.
He's been playing a lot better. Absolutely. He's getting pressure.
Really good.
Yeah. He has. He's had a spark for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's good because I've been saying he's a shell of himself, and I would say over the course of the last 2-3 games, he's stepped it up a notch, which is great. And hopefully, when Ed returns, he continues to play that way.
Yeah.
Because we'll need both to play that way. So those are my X factors. Now, what's your score prediction?
Oh, God. I think it's going to be something like, 27-24 Bills.
Poof. Yeah. Disgusting. All right.
Disgusting.
Oh, so close. I hate it. I just hate those
But
games.
that's how the Bills play games now.
No, I know. It's disgusting. I mean, I get it as long as you get the dub, but I hate it. I'll go the opposite. I'll go. We like to be in the 30s, even though last week we weren't. I'm going to hit it right. I'm going to say rate 30. I'm going to go 30-21. 30-21.
Bills?
Bills won by 9. Yeah. 30-21 Bills.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
So I'm hoping they do that. We'll see. I mean,
yeah, Walker's been good. Like for a fourth round rookie, he's been better than any of our other rookies. At least he flashes.
He's been one of him and the tight end. Outside of that, I'm disappointed with Sanders so far, even though they've been giving him decent grades, which once again, that's why I don't go by grades. I know what I'm seeing. Listen, can he get better and be better? Yes. I think he has the talent, but right now I'm not seeing it. And he got hurt again, I think, or he's hurt now, or so knee, lovely. So that's going to be a step back. So
I thought Dorian Strong was coming on from a rookie standpoint. I would love to see Hancock. Hancock has so much athleticism. Just let the kid go out there and play.
I would too, but you know how it goes.
Yep.
All right, let's play a couple Real Men of Genius, and we're gonna get out of here.
All
right, here we go.
Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real Men of Genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Fortune Cookie, Fortune Writer.
Mr. Fortune Cookie, Fortune Writer.
Most writers leave their wisdom in a book. You leave yours in a cookie.
Crunchy cookie.
Sure, they taste good, but it's the information you provide that we're really hungry for.
Love is round the corner.
Though your tablet is small, your message never is.
Show me the way.
Of course, the Mushu pork and the egg foo young fill our bellies. It's your inspiration that keeps us well nourished. So crack open an ice cold Bud Light, Mr. Fortune Cookie, Fortune Writer, because when you say our luck is about to change, we believe you. Bud Light here at Anheuser-Busch.
Love is right around the corner.
That was a good one.
Our luck's about to change. Maybe I need to go get some Chinese food and maybe a Bill's.
Right? I like it, Jessica. 35-21. Jessica's hopping back on that train.
Oh, one more and we're out of here. Oh, it's 35-21, Jessica. Okay. I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. One more and we're out of here. Where is it? Got to go to the right file. Okay. Right here. Okay. Let's get this one. I have no idea what this one is, but we'll play it.
Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real Men of Genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Golf Tournament Quiet Sign Holder.
Oh, we just did that one the other day. See, some of them don't have, they don't say the name, and I'm just picking, so I'll throw one more since that one was, we already played that one. Let's see here. Anybody in the chats? Anything in the chat?
We're good.
Oh, okay. This one's a good one.
Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real Men of Genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Really Stinky Breath Breather Outer.
Mr. Really Stinky Breath Breather Outer.
Though we'd never tell you to your face, you've got the breath that can stop a charging elephant.
Show us some mercy.
We want to hear what you have to say. We just want you to say it from way over there.
Keep on going.
What was it you had for lunch? a dead rat, a rotten egg, a turd sandwich.
Nasty turd sandwich.
Whatever it was, it just singed off my eyelashes.
Oh!
So crack open an ice cold Bud Light, Barnacle Breath, because you put the hell in halitosis.
Mr. Really Stinky Breath Breather out.
Turd sandwich. I've had
Tommy's new favorite lunch.
Yeah, I've talked to people. I'm like, you ever have that? Someone has a really bad breath, and you're like, ugh. I get it at the bar all the time because people love to talk to the security guard always, and they come right close to me, and I'm just like, with the alcohol breath and whatever the fuck they were just eating throughout the day. And it's like, dude,
Roasted sauerkraut.
oh, it's so gross, dude. Anyways, man, Mikey, thanks for hopping on while you did. Appreciate you. You're pretty much on here at 9 to 10, so it was great. Bills Mafia, appreciate you guys rocking with us. I'll be on here tomorrow for AFC East Shakedown at noon 12. I haven't scheduled it yet, but I will tomorrow morning. And then me and Mikey will return for post-game Monday night. I'll be here pregame and halftime report as well on Monday night. So Monday night will be hopefully a really good Monday night for all of us. And I appreciate you guys.
Bounce back.
Yep.
And go
Bounce
Bills.
back. Go Bills. Bills Mafia, we love you. As always, go Bills. We're out of here. Peace.
Just let your soul go. Just let it shine through. Just let your soul, baby, feeling oh so